Hey everyone, welcome back to the Coach's Corner here on the NAI Volley Report. I'm your host, Daniel Mesquita. Today we're joined by head coach Jose Viera Cerame, head coach at Bethel University on the men's side. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. How are things out in Indiana?
Yeah, everything's going great. It's funny because I'm not in Indiana right now. I'm visiting family in Puerto Rico, so I'm enjoying my summer over here.
Oh, I can only imagine. And I was
Yeah,
trying to figure out the time change for you. I'm in Oregon, so I'm 2 hours behind if you were in
yep,
Indiana. So I'm sure it's
yeah.
uh,
It's the same time, so
oh,
it's 11 o'clock for us here.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Coach, let's go back to your playing days. You grew up in Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
There's a volleyball community there that is very rich. What first drew you to the sport?
Yeah, my family from my mom's side, all my cousins played Division 1 volleyball at Penn State, Texas, IU, and University of Florida. I did gymnastics first for 8 years. I started when I was 4. I quit when I was 12, and because of them, I transitioned to volleyball.
And looking back at your playing days, are there any lessons or teachable moments that you have with you that you take with you as a coach?
Yeah, well, coming from a Hispanic household, we're very strict, so that helped a lot in discipline and having a good character. Uh, so yeah, that's what I still bring from, being born in Puerto Rico. That's what I still bring with me to the court and off the court as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you played at Campbellsville in
Mhm.
your collegiate days. What made Campbellsville the right fit for you as an athlete and also as a growing young man?
Yeah, the head coach he just took the job there at the time, and I was just looking for school, and I came up with Campbellsville. I was like, okay, if he's a new coach, I'm a new player. He's bringing in new players, rebuilding the program. Let me give it a shot. And also, he was bringing people from all over the world, so I was very excited about that. And that's what brought me to Campbellsville. People thought, my family thought I was gonna come back because it's in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky, but no, I stayed there. I bought in and to what the coaching staff wanted. I love the teammates. I made great connections with professors. Everyone was very understanding, and that's what for me was a great fit.
Not every player, every great player becomes a coach. What was the moment that made you realize that being a coach was in your deck of cards?
Yeah, when I was given the opportunity to be a graduate assistant at Campbellsville, that's our coach trusted me a lot. He even offered me the position when I was a sophomore at Campbellsville.
Hmm.
So that's how much he trusted me and knew that I had the capability to be a head coach in the future. So I took the opportunity that he gave me, and that's where I'm at right now.
Absolutely, and you worked under several coaches, successful coaches as
Mhm.
well. Like you mentioned the coach at Campbellsville. What was the biggest influence that he had on you while you were underneath him?
Yeah, well, he always had his what coaches like for from players, and one of them was being selfless. That's something that even till this day I still take with me, and I do my best making sure my guys are selfless, and that it's not always about you. It's about everyone else around you.
The transition from the assistant role to the head coaching role is never easy. You're taking over the program. The kids that are there, or the athletes that are there, may not buy into what you're selling. But how did you get those athletes to buy into your vision for the program?
Yeah, well, that transition's never easy for anyone. That transitioning from assistant coach to head coach, it's never easy. Um, Especially when the fall started and then head coach decided to leave, and then you're like, okay, what do I do now? But no, I had a great group of guys that were willing to buy in to what I wanted. One of my captains, Eric Malik, he ended up going to um, St. Thomas in Miami for his master's degree. We were teammates at Campbellsville. He transferred from Campbellsville to Bethel, and he was the first one that stood up for me. And he told everyone else on the team, "Hey, like I know Coach for a long time already. He's my brother. We played together. I know him. But right now, I have to do my best as a captain to call him coach and not bro or
Mhm.
Jose. So if I know him for a longer time that you guys do, and I'm willing to do that transition, or that transition to call him head coach, coach, yes sir, no sir, um, then you guys should be willing to. And everyone bought in. And also, I met with everyone on the team one on one, trying to get a feel and understanding of what's going on and being straightforward with them. That's how I created a bond, a trust, right away.
When taking over the program, like you said, mid fall, when volleyball is right around the corner, knocking on that door, what were some of the priorities? Obviously, you weren't going to be able to rebuild overnight, but what were some of the priorities that you had when you took over that program?
Yeah, the first one, knowing that Bethel's is Christian school, it's always lead by faith, um, through and for the Lord, um, buy in to the vision, and making it to the conference tournament. And my ultimate goal was to retain everyone. Whoever knows Bethel, we have a history of people coming and going. And when I took over the program, that was the first thing I said. I was like, yep, I want to retain people and make it to the conference tournament for sure.
And let's talk about the culture you have over there at Bethel. Culture is a word that some coaches use as a buzzword, but what does
Mhm.
culture mean inside your program?
Yeah, well, as you know, you've seen my roster. We have a very diverse program, from the US all the way to Hong Kong to Australia and New Zealand. Um, so bringing those people together, it doesn't matter where you're from. You can always bring people together, and on the court and off the court. That culture that we create off the court, it's huge. Those guys right now are visiting each other's countries during the summer. That's what I want to create. It's not just create a competitive program, but also a healthy one off the court where they can see each other whenever they're done playing volleyball at the college level.
And you mentioned how Bethel is a Christian university. How does faith impact the way you lead?
Yeah, I always go um, by our Bible verse. We have a team Bible verse, and it's Romans 8:31. If God is for us, who can be against us? That's how I lead, and not just the physical aspect. Playing against another team. You know, just also the psychological aspect. As student athletes, we go through a lot, and putting the Lord first and helping us guide us throughout struggles. Then who can be against us? So that's how I lead my program. I also let my players to lead prayers before practices, before games, after games, and that's how we create that strong bond between each other and with the Lord.
And that bond that you guys had was definitely strong. You guys had a remarkable season.
Mhm.
We will rewind a little bit, talk about that historic 25-26 season. You guys were WAC regular season champions. You guys were also the tournament champions as well, which
Mhm.
got you guys an automatic qualifying bid to the national tournament. That is the first one in program history, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course, when you look back at that season, what stands out most to you, and what was your favorite part about that eventful season?
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to my wife about it the other day. We were talking about like recapping the our season, and she asked me the same question. I said the adversity that we faced.
Yeah.
We had a lot of injuries. Patrick, our OH1, he had a meniscus surgery in the fall, in October, and then in November he was playing, and then season started, he got injured again. So just the adversity that we faced throughout the whole season, people coming in from the bench and doing their job because other people were down, and then those people coming back and playing harder. That's what standed out the most to me for this season.
And was there any point during that season, was it the non-conference run where you guys went undefeated or had that undefeated streak, or what was the point when you realized that this team had something, that this team could be something special?
Yeah, it actually started from last year's season,
Okay.
when we lost the conference tournament at Lawrence Tech in the semis. It was very devastating. Lost in five at their place with their fans. We were up 14-12 and lost 15-17 in
Okay.
the fifth set. That clicked, but that made us hungry for this last season. But definitely beating Lords at home. That was the first top 15 match that we had at home, after being nationally ranked for the first time. Beating them reverse sweep in front of our home crowd. That's when we realized, okay, we have something to prove now. We are the same team, but we are better, mentally and physically than last year, and that's what motivated us to keep getting stronger and better every single day.
And then you guys went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. You guys vote out in pool play, which I know isn't the end goal.
Mhm.
But you guys faced two phenomenal teams. You got Mount Mercy and Saint Xavier. What lessons did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of expectations when you go to a national tournament for the first time. I went through it as a player as well. As going to the national tournament first time in the program history, the expectation is to lose.
Mhm.
From everyone, the expectation from everyone. Oh, it's their first time. We're gonna go there and we're gonna beat them. No, if you're gonna beat us, you have to compete. And my expectation was to go out there and compete whether we win or lose. We did. We competed. We left our mark. We, I know for sure. We know for sure that we definitely belong there. Um, so the one of the lessons that we had was we have to compete, and we're playing amongst the best 12 teams in the nation.
Mhm.
It's not going to be easy. You're playing teams that are very resilient. They'll fight back even if they're down. We have to do the same. So that's one thing that we learned from that tournament.
Yeah, and then how can that experience that those athletes faced at the national tournament help them, for next year?
Yeah, well, now they're experienced. Now
Yeah.
they know how it looks like, knowing that I'm bringing everyone back, the same roster as last year. They're gonna be playing together again, hopefully at the national tournament. Uh, so now they're experienced. They know what they have to do. They know how the lights shine at that stage, and also bringing in new people and helping those people to get used to our game. And if we go to a national tournament, then okay, this is what the national tournament looks like. It's very competitive. So, and I have two guys, Thomas and Santana.
Hmm.
They've been at the national tournament before with their previous school and won the national championship with their previous school, so they know what it's like at that level. And that was one of the things I told them before going to the tournament. I met with both of them and I said, "Hey, these guys have never been to the tournament. You have. I need you to be the leader and guide them throughout that process because it's not easy. And if you're struggling, I'm gonna help you guide them as well."
Hmm.
And they did a great job. So now everyone has the experience. They know what to expect at that level, and that's what we're looking for next year. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great quote that I read. Nationals wasn't your finish line; what's your starting point? How does
Mhm.
that mindset shape the way the future for the Bethel Pilots?
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, it's the starting point. That was our goal. That's good. That's win the conference tournament, so we can go to a national tournament, have the experience. Um, so now knowing that we can compete at that level, that motivates us to go out there next year, next season, and do better and hopefully make it past pool play.
Hmm.
Um, so our goal this year was to go to a national tournament. Great. Now our goal next year, let's make it past pool play, but at the same time going game by game, point by point.
And coach, you touched on a little bit about your diversity on your roster, and that
Mhm.
is something that is very intriguing, and I absolutely love it. Bringing people from all over the world. When I was an athlete, I was happy that I got people from all over the states. You can only imagine what it's like
Yep.
having people from all over the countries. But why has international recruiting been something that you have been intentional about, and why does it seem so important to your program?
Yeah, that's how I experienced my college career as a player. That's what I experienced. Had teammates from Germany, Australia, from everywhere, and I knew how how that is the beauty of our sport, especially in the NAI, right? Because
Hmm.
NCAA, you don't see a lot of internationals stacked in one team, but NAI, you do, and that's normal. But no, what I experienced was so beautiful that going into this program, taking over, that's what I wanted to do. It's like, okay, let me start recruiting more internationals. That's gonna make us successful. Why? Because they bring their insight from their countries. You know, they come here and even though they buy in to the program, they say, "Hey, coach, why don't we try this?" You know, they bring new ideas, and it's better for me. One, they make my job easier. Um, I don't have to break my head creating new drills when they can come to my office and give me a new one from their country,
Hmm.
and that makes us better. So having that diversity, it doesn't also unite you on the court, but also off the court. It makes you successful on both ways.
Yeah, and let's talk about the process getting them here. What is the challenges that are coming with recruiting internationally? I'm sure it's not easy. You're pulling kids from a couple plane rides away. What does that look
Hmm.
like, and what are some of the challenges you face?
Yeah, one, and I think it's the main one for every coach that's recruiting internationally. You can't watch them play live.
Hmm.
Everything's through video. Uh, so that's one of the struggles. And second, budget. You know, most of these guys, they don't have the budget to pay for school. So, and as a coach, you don't have the budget to match their budget.
Hmm.
Um, so those are the two main struggles. But it is what it is, and that's what we have to deal with. Um, but as long as you can get them here, and sometimes those players don't have the budget, but they like you as a coach and as a person, that they're willing to make a sacrifice and pay that extra thousand, $2,000, $3,000 that they have to pay to come here. So it's also about making a good impression for the kids and letting them know that they're going to be in good hands in this program.
Absolutely, and let's go on and talk about Bethel as an institution. Why should a recruit that's either international or here in the states? Why should they choose Bethel? And what makes Bethel different from other programs or institutions?
Yeah. Well, one, we have great professors. Our professors are very understanding. They know what a student athlete goes through in a daily basis. Um, just knowing that if they're athletes, they know they have to travel, they have to leave class early for a game. So they understand that. Also, the competitive environment that we have, not just as a volleyball program, but as an athletic department. We have great programs here like soccer, basketball, women's volleyball, tennis, golf. We all, win championships every year, and having that competitive environment, it's huge for athletes when you're recruiting. Um, and also, most of our students at Bethel are internationals. And if you're recruiting internationals, they're gonna feel like they're at home.
Hmm.
Uh, so knowing that we have a international strong campus, they're gonna feel comfortable. They're gonna decide to come here. Uh, that's why they choose. They should choose us, Bethel University. Yeah.
Yep. And what kind of athlete thrives? Is it the competitiveness, or what kind of athlete thrives in under Coach Jose?
Yeah, a athlete that is open-minded. That's I'm huge on that. Just be open-minded, buy into the vision. Not everything that we as coaches say is wrong or right. We're not perfect. We make mistakes as well, just how players make mistakes. Uh, but people that buy in are willing to learn new ways of playing volleyball, whether you're international or a kid from the States. And I listen. I love to listen, kids. I was once a student athlete.
Hmm.
I'm only 26 years old. I got done playing 4 or 5 years ago. Um, so I can relate to them. I can relate to all my guys, and that's that's probably why I have a great relationship with my team, because I can relate to them. I'm young. I know what they go through on a daily basis. Um, and my coaching staff, not just me, my assistant coach, Maddie Kern, shout out to her. She's amazing. She's 25 years old. Um, she can relate to them as well, and she does a really good job um, at it. So that is why a player should come here and play under my coaching.
Absolutely, and under your coaching, you've done a great job in the WAC. But the WAC
Mhm,
is one of the premier conferences in the NAIA. You got
mhm,
Indiana Tech, you got
mhm.
Bethel, you got Lawrence Tech, you got. I mean, that's just to name a few. What makes it so challenging, and how does competing against teams like that prepare you for nationals?
Yeah, well, you have four teams in the WAC that are nationally ranked,
Hmm.
and every other game you're playing them.
Hmm.
So having that competitive environment, every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday prepares you outside of non-conference matches. Because obviously in non-conference you want to schedule the toughest teams
Sure.
in the nation. But having a tough conference prepares you more. Why? Because you're playing constant teams, um, at a high level and going to their places. It's not easy playing at Indiana Tech or at Lords, right? That they just shut down, unfortunately.
Yep.
Um, but playing at Indiana Tech, at Lords, at Cornerstone,
Cornerstone.
at Lawrence Tech, it's a tough environment, and playing there helps you prepare mentally and physically for national tournament or going to outside of conference playing non-conference teams.
And next year, you bring back a couple of starters or some of the returners. What
Mhm.
excites you the most about going into that 26-27 season? And yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we're no longer in the WAC. For our program, our school it's in the Crossroads League, and Crossroads League it started men's volleyball. So now we're gonna have six teams, including us, Goshen, and Mount Vernon that came from the WAC.
Okay.
We're also adding Spring Arbor,
Yep.
Huntington,
Hmm.
and Indiana Wesleyan. So now we can have the Crossroads. We can have our own conference and have our own automatic bid to the national tournament. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Um, but also we're still going to be playing the teams from the WAC for our first year just to have more games in our schedule and just bringing the same people. I bring Santana, I bring Thomas, who was the player of the year in the WAC. I bring McGuire, the setter of the year in the WAC. I'm bringing Eduardo, my libero. I'm bringing Patrick, my outside. Jibby, our 6'9" middle blocker. I'm bringing the whole team. Again, plus adding seven new guys from Australia, Czech Republic, um, where else? Serbia. So bringing those guys that compete at a very high level, um, they're going to be competing for a spot now, and being more competitive, have a more competitive environment in our program at practices and games. So that's what I'm really looking forward to for next year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I know it's going to be exciting. But let me ask you a couple questions before we go. A couple of rapid fire questions
Yeah.
that are non volleyball related, or some of them are. What is your favorite food from Puerto Rico that you miss being? Now I know it's still part of the states, but like, is there anything specific that you miss the most being in Indiana?
Yeah. I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Arroz con gandules, mofongo, carne frita, um, and tocino por mi abuelo. And if you're Puerto Rican, if you know, you know.
Absolutely. And coach, what is the best coaching advice that you have received as either an assistant, grad assistant, or being in your head coaching role?
Yeah. That never make things about you. Always make things about your players. They are the ones putting the hard work. Not that we don't as a coaching staff, but they are the ones putting the hard work, waking up early for lift, waking up early for practices, then going to practices, um, going to class, games. Um, so always make it about them and make them feel cared and loved.
And what if there was one word to describe Bethel men's volleyball? What would that be?
Unity. Our unity describes us a lot.
Perfect. And last thing, after a long season, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday games like you had mentioned, how do you recover after a long season? Is it a vacation like you're on now? Do you kind of disconnect? Are you still in the gym? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, well, if I'm not on vacation, I go to the gym. And what I do mostly, it's just organize my office, and just that way I'm not working, but I'm actually working. That way I can start the new year fresh with a clean office and more organized. And vacationing, visiting family at home, watching Formula One. Uh, that's what, that's how I let go of everything that happened in the season, because that's in the past already. Yes, you can reflect on that, you can think about it, but that's in the past. We're going into a new year.
Absolutely, Coach. And I just want to thank you so much for taking this time to do this interview with me, especially on vacation. I appreciate it so much. But before we go, where can we find Bethel Men's Volleyball on social media, and where can we find you as well?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much as well for having me here. It's a pleasure. But yeah, you can find me my personal Instagram, coach.jose Viera, Jose, V for Victor, Iera, and our Bethel Men's Volleyball Instagram, Bethel Pilots Men's MVV on Instagram.
Perfect. And everybody watching today, make sure you follow the NAI Volley Report on all things social media at NAI Volley Report. Also, check out our website at naivolleyreport.com. Coach, thank you again, and hope you're having fun out there.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.